This week saw the release of the third issue of Absolute Wonder Woman, set in the brand new universe created by the evil Darkseid. Here our heroes are reimagined in more modern settings at a distinct disadvantage, and this issue revealed several things that are worth talking about. The first being a specific disadvantage that our Wonder Woman faces. So the headline revelation from this issue is that Diana sacrificed her right arm to save Steve Trevor. You may recall from the last issue that Steve had washed up on the shores of hell, and Diana thought he might be a gift for her. She felt that finding a way to return him home would be a way of proving her heroism, and in trying to find ways to restore him, she came across a powerful spell. But her mother Cersei warned her that powerful spells come at a high cost, a cost that she is personally not willing to pay, and suggests that they find another way. Diana, however, feels differently. She has lived a lonely and isolated life in hell, with Cersei telling her that she would grow up to become a powerful hero in her own right. And she strongly feels that saving Steve is the first step in her journey to becoming the hero she was meant to be. And heroes are willing to sacrifice themselves for others. Diana hacks off her own dominant arm, the arm of a hero, believing this to be a fitting sacrifice, and she is right. With Cersei's help, they are able to cast the spell and send Steve back to Gateway City, where he will doubtlessly have a hard time explaining to everyone how he managed to come back from the dead. When it had previously been mentioned that sending Steve back would require a great sacrifice, I had assumed that it was Cersei that would sacrifice herself, given that she has yet to appear in the modern day sections of the comic. But by making Diana willingly mutilate herself to save another person adds a layer of heroism. I'm kind of reminded a little bit of the Justice League, the animated series version of Aquaman, who hacked off his own hand to free himself in order to save his infant son. A much more heroic sacrifice than the comic book version, whose hand was eaten by disobedient piranha. Of course, this wasn't the only sacrifice that she made in returning Steve. She also gave up her chance at a relationship with him, but she doesn't wallow in self-pity. She knows it's the right thing to do, not just for Steve, but for all the people that miss him back home. As she says, they're missing one of their great heroes, and they need him. Now you may be asking how she has a right arm in the modern day section of this story. Well, Cersei conjured a magical prosthesis for her, hence all the glowing tattoos. And when she confronts the monstrous Tetracide, it grabs her by this arm and attempts to consume her, so she detaches the arm and flees. This is quite a bold move, having one of your headline superheroes live and thrive with a disability, and I think it could contribute towards changing the way that some speak about people that are missing limbs or have other disabilities. Diana doesn't miss a step after losing her arm though, as she marches back to the army's makeshift base in a bar and attaches a more traditional prosthesis. She's just as capable with a metal arm, even if it does take some of the soldiers aback. This issue also introduces us to Barbara Minerva. In the mainline comics, she is the Wonder Woman villain and sometimes ally Cheetah, who is an academic that specializes in the Amazons. When she sees Diana on TV, she identifies her as Wonder Woman, which is apparently what the Amazons called their champion, and runs off to meet her. Diana is initially a little confused by Barbara, given that she grew up in hell and was separated from the Amazons, but you can tell that she is delighted to meet someone that actually knows about her heritage. And Diana accepts the title of Wonder Woman, going as far as referring to herself as that when addressing the people of Gateway City in a televised broadcast. So getting back to the threat at the centre of the story, we learn more about the Tetracide from Diana. The Tetracide is named so because of the 4 ways that it kills a person. Firstly, it makes a loud sound that is pleasing to the ear and brainwashes anyone that hears it, luring them to the Tetracide, to the point that they would do anything and everything to reach it. This is referred to as the death of fear. Then it kills their mind, their body, and finally, their soul. Diana mentions that the people that die in the frenzy of reaching the Tetracide will be the lucky ones. I feel like there's a veiled political message here about populist politicians saying all the things that people want to hear to lure them in before they become a full-blown cult, mind, body and soul. But you know, that might just be me reading into things too much. But either way, this gigantic monstrosity is making its way towards Gateway City, and it intends to feast. Ever the diplomat, Diana does attempt to speak to the Tetracide and asks it to leave. However, it has no interest in diplomacy, and so Diana's hand is forced. Now, one thing I wanted to clarify about her lasso, Nemesis, is that while it is a lasso of revenge, It's revenge in a more classical sense. The word revenge has a very negative connotation in this day and age, whereas in the classics, revenge was just and it was good. Note that her lasso only inflicts on people the pain it has caused others, so you can imagine that the Tetracide suffers quite a bit when Diana ties it up. However, despite the colossal pain inflicted upon it, it's still too much for Diana, even with Pegasus's help. And I really like the exchange where Diana tells Pegasus to hold back because she doesn't think she'll be allowed to resurrect him again. It was a nice little touch that showed how Diana cares more for others than herself, even horrific looking skeletal flying horses. So Diana isn't able to persuade the Tetracide to leave, and she can't currently fight it off, but that doesn't mean she's out of options. Her solution to this problem is actually quite ingenious. She casts a spell to make everyone deaf. If they can't hear the Tetracide, then they won't be drawn to it, and it won't be able to feast on them. This will give her the time to find a way to fight it off. And when you couple this with the revelation about Wonder Woman's magical prosthetic arm, I feel like there's a very clear attempt at normalizing disabilities. I can only imagine how it would feel to lose a limb or hearing, but to see such a strong, confident character like Wonder Woman take it in her stride could potentially be very inspiring, which is what Wonder Woman should be. And there's a recurring theme across these Absolute comics, where they are demonstrating that despite these massive changes and huge disadvantages that they face, they are still recognisably the heroes we know and love. Now, if everyone is deaf next issue, I wonder if that means we're going to get a mostly dialogue-free issue with lots of action. I think that would be pretty cool. Absolute Wonder Woman 3 is available now from all good comic shops. I did notice that my retailer sold out of all the variant covers for some reason, but still had a few copies of the standard cover available. It remains to be seen if the revelation about Wonder Woman's arm drives up demand for the physical copy. If you are based in the UK and want to mail order a physical copy, you could do so from Forbidden Planet, the largest comic book retailer in the UK. I have an affiliate link with them and will share it in the video's description. If you don't have a comic shop near you or don't want the hassle of storing physical comics, boy do I relate, then you may want to consider picking up a digital copy through Amazon. I also have an affiliate link which you could use to help my channel out, as I will get a small kickback. Emphasis on small. I've included a link in the info button and this video's description. To those that have read this issue, what did you think? Am I making too big of a deal about the subtext behind the Tetracide? Is Pegasus the secret star of the book? Do you think that Barbara will end up becoming the absolute cheater? Share your views in the comments below. I'll be back next week to talk about Absolute Superman 3, and if the cover is anything to go by, it looks like we might be seeing more of the destruction of Krypton. Hope to see you then.